Okay, so myself, Alex Lichtenfels, and Andrew Hill are here to take you through how you do your peer assessment. So we're going to give you an example where we take you through the whole process from start to finish. So the first thing that you're going to need to do, and this will probably happen fairly early in the assignment process, is you're going to have to choose a group. So to do that, you go to the Select Your Group option, which you'll find on the Moodle page for the course in which your assignment is taking place. So as you can see, here the tutor will have set this up, and there might be more than 4 groups, there might be less than 4 groups. It's going to depend on the number of students that are in your class in total. You'll notice that under the third column, under the fill/capacity column, that tells you the capacity, which is the second number, tells you the maximum number of students that are allowed to be in a group. So in this case, that would be 5 students. And then the fill tells you how many students are in a group. In this case, it's 1 student. Now, Andrew is going to choose his group, but he's not sure. He wants to be in my group, but he's not sure which group I'm in yet. So what he's going to do is in the 4th column where it says group members, he's going to click on show. And there you go, lo and behold, I am in group 1. So Andrew wants to be in my group, so he's going to join group A, sorry, not group 1, but it is the first group. So he's just going to click the little box, and he's going to click on save my choice. And then finally on continue. And you can see that the fill capacity has moved up to 2, and that's because Andrew has just joined the group. And if you show the group members, you can see that Andrew is there in the group. Okay, and that's it. You've joined the group. So that's the first thing that you're going to have to do. Now, the second part of this is that you're going to have to complete the peer assessment itself. And the first thing that you need to do when you complete the peer assessment is you need to upload a short self-evaluation. And that's going to happen a week before the deadline of your assignment. And that's so between when you upload your self-evaluation and the deadline of the assignment, you have a chance to assess all your peers, and they also have a chance to assess you. So very, very important that you understand that the deadline for the self-evaluation is not the same as the deadline for the assignment. It takes place a week beforehand. So the second thing you have to do, you'll find a little icon on Moodle with a little yellow person talking to a little sort of reddish brown person, and it'll say something like group peer assessment, and it might say term 1 or term 2 on it. So you click on that. Okay, and when you click on that, you should see a page that looks something like this. You'll see that the group peer assessment task is in the submission phase, and that's about submitting your own self-evaluation. So you can see that there are some instructions for submission, and those will be pretty standard across any assignment that you're undertaking. So it says, reflect on your performance within the group. You should talk about contribution, communication and responsibility, justifying your claims where appropriate. And you have about 200 words to do that. So it's not too long. It's a way of you concisely reflecting on your performance within the group. It will say the due date, and it'll be a week before the final deadline, as I've mentioned. And this is really, really important that you must submit it by that date, because if you don't, you will get 0 for that portion of the assignment. You have to do it, otherwise you will get 0, and that would obviously be a tragedy because you will lose a lot of marks. Okay, so Andrew's just going to take you through what he actually writes in and what the kind of thing you might write in when you're preparing your submission.
Okay, right, so here I am, and I'm ready to submit my submission. So as you can see at the bottom, there's a button that says start preparing your submission. So I just click on here, and again I still get the instructions at the top of the page, which are useful for reference. And so I can give it a title, so I'll call it actually I'll call it my self-assessment. So I've already kind of created a bit of text which I might pop in here. So what I'll do is I'll try and deliver some text which covers some of the ideas. So I'm talking about contribution, communication, and responsibility. And if I want to, I can also submit some evidence. So you'll see this drag and drop file at the bottom here, which allows me to submit some evidence. And handily, I have a file here that's called evidence. So what I do is I just drag and drop that here, and you'll see it uploading. Now you've got to wait until it is fully uploaded. It should change into a different icon here at the bottom. But obviously the maximum file size is 2 gigabytes, so you shouldn't have too much problem. If you want to submit multiple files, then make sure that you zip the files together before uploading them. Okay, so now you can see obviously this changed a little while ago. That shows me that my file has been completely uploaded. Bear in mind that whatever you write in this box here for the submission content and whatever you upload in the attachment file will be visible to the people that appear assessing you. That's the whole point of doing this. Okay, so when I have submitted this, I then click Save Changes, and then you'll see you'll see what I can see here, what it was that I submitted. Okay, so within the submission phase, this is all that I need to do. So now I've submitted my own statement. I just need to sit back and wait for the next phase, which is the assessment phase.
As you can see, we've now moved over to the assessment phase. So the submission phase runs all the way from the beginning of the assignment to 1 week before the final deadline. And by the end of submission phase, you have to have uploaded your self-evaluation. I'm just going to keep repeating that. But now we're in the phase in that week between when you've uploaded your self-evaluation and the final deadline. And that's the assessment phase. And what that means is that it's a phase that in that week you assess your peers. You assess their performance in those 3 key areas that you talked about. And Andrew's going to take you through that process now.
Okay, so as Alex mentioned, when it is an assessment phase, when I come to this page, it will be slightly different from the submission phase where I submitted my thing earlier. And so I'll see some instructions here of how many submissions that I have to peer assess. So at the moment, because I'm just in a group with Alex, it's just 1. So you can see just down below there's an option here for me to assess Alex's submission, and actually if I was in a group with many other people, I would see all of them listed here as well. But because it's only Alex and I in this group, it's just him. So all I need to do is just click on here to assess. And what I will see here is Alex's statement. So as he said here, he will provide 200 words of self-evaluation referring to his contribution, communication, and responsibility. So this is what Alex will have submitted during the submission phase. And really, that's what I should be having a look at and using to base my assessment of his contribution to the group. So if I scroll down, I'll see the 3 criteria against which I should be assessing his contribution, communication, and responsibility. Those are the 3 criteria, and you can see that there are descriptive texts there that relate to each of those. So I need to read Alex's statement up here and have a think about what exactly it is that I want to assign him. So actually, thinking about it, I think that Alex made a significant contribution to group work. He always turned up at the meetings and he helped other people. He asked other people what they thought. So I'm going to assign him this for contribution. And I think he was very good at communicating with people. So I'm going to score him on that there. And because he took a lot of responsibility in the project, so I'm going to identify him as a key member of the group, taking key responsibilities. Then I can see the box down here at the bottom for feedback, where I can provide my own description to justify why I assigned these. So let me just do that now. Ooh. So once I've written my written statement, if I'd like to, I can also submit files to, as I say, substantiate my claims here. If I don't want to, then I don't have to, but I can if I want to. So I'll just check that I have made these, so I've scored in each of these categories, and I have filled in the feedback in the text there, and then I'm going to click Save and Close. And so now here you'll see that no longer does it say assess, it says reassess. So while we're in this assessment phase, I could go back and make changes if I wanted to make any edits to this. But normally what I would do is I would go on to make another assessment. You can see up here in the assessment phase window that it now says that pending is 0, which that means that I no longer have any more peer assessments to make because I've already done Alex's one, which was the one that I should have been doing. Okay, so the assessment phase will stay open until the final deadline for the project. So you'll need to make sure that you've done all your peer assessments within that final week, as Alex said, in order to make sure that you score everybody. Okay. Then we move into the grading and evaluation phase, where the computer will calculate all of the numbers. So we don't actually, as a student, you don't actually get to see this. This is all going on behind the scenes, and we will. So the tutors will be using the peer assessment that you have assigned to one another to create a group work grade for the assignment. So after the marking has been completed, the group peer assessment will be moved to closed, and at that point you will then be able to see the grade which you received for your submission. So as you can see here, I received 2.67 out of 5. So this means that I almost got a 2-2. So 5 is equivalent to a first and 0 is equivalent to a serious fail. And so you can calculate all the others in between that. If I want to, I can click on and have a look at my self-assessment. And this time when I click on, I will see my own, and I'll also see the assessment that Alex made of me. So I can see where he scored me and where I scored well. So I scored strongly in contribution, okay in communication, but I scored very poorly in responsibility. So that's the one that really took my grade down. And at this point, I would be able to see assessments that other people in my group had made of me. What's really important to note at the moment is that actually I know that Alex made this assignment because he's the only other person in my group. But actually, when you're working in larger groups, this is all anonymized. Okay, so nobody will know who it was that gave specific feedback and specific scores. And of course I can read the feedback that relates to these scores. So Alex has thought long and hard about what he was going to assign me to these things, and he's provided evidence and a description at the bottom in order to contextualize why he has given me the grades that he has.
Okay, so this has been an overview of what you do during peer assessment. Now, you've probably have noticed that during this video we haven't actually told you why we do peer assessment, or how it applies to your final overall mark. So if you want to find out more information about that, what you can do is you can refer to the peer assessment policy document, which will be on your program's Moodle page.